I got myself some popcorn because it is week 2 of the LEC right here from the brand new Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany. As you can see, our fans are already waiting for some snacks as well as the games begin. But I'm super happy to welcome you all back. Now, why did I get some popcorn? Well, to watch X today and everything that will be going down for the matches and our awesome fans as I try not to trip. But also because I thought it would be cool if we had a little watch party with Goldborg. Because
I feel so privileged right now.
I brought some popcorn. Do you like sweet or salty?
Salty. Which one did you get?
Oh, I think it's sweet.
It's okay, you go still.
It's okay.
It's
but
okay,
hey,
popcorn is popcorn.
We could watch together, kind of like in the cinema at what happened last week. Yeah?
Oh wow, these
all right,
are
let's
good.
dim the lights.
No
Okay.
matter which generation of junglers we're talking about, he's always there, he's always at the top, and he's always difficult to take down.
Wait, this is us! Oh my god, it's Croatian flag and us. Oh my god, it's us again, guys.
Oh my god, it's the MSI trophy! No way!
Oh my god,
it's
another
Jankos
trophy.
with more hair.
Oh, true.
Play together and have a good time. Let's go, boys.
Let's go, boys!
Let's go, team!
Let's go, team.
Doing it well. Niski gets the pull back, Larsen locked up, and Niski will take the kill.
Look at no flash. Oh, he has flash. Okay, nice. Okay, GG, nice.
We've got a big wave happening right now.
Hey, let's go! Hey, feels like home! hey! Flash away, Adam does the same. Flash forward though by Caps as he manages to lock down Adam. And the shutdown goes into the
Kill over to Super, also big deals. Capture meanwhile gets flashed on, ignited down. Execution! Merwin is cooking again. Placed at the right time to try and get one back for KC. Super buying it off. He's got Zephyr. Bow flashes under turret. How dangerous is it? The answer is not at all. He survives.
Back shortly, but instead is going in! That is insane confidence from a rookie. Knew exactly what he could get done there.
dashes in with a heartbreaker and has broken the hearts of the KC faithful. Who members? Niski jumps back in. How are SK members still alive? This team is crazy.
The damage comes through from upset. First blood over to a Caitlyn bot.
Jungle. Go ahead. Play side. Oh, baby!
Careful payload. Larsen, an Emperor, hunted, trying to dash away, broken, but there's nowhere to go. Yes, there is!
Azir first, Azir.
Back this time, they'll find their man. Razork now in trouble, instantly going to try to leap over the wall and get a little bit more done. Doesn't quite have the damage. Have an ability to push, they flash in.
Blast Shattering Strike, as you said. He might get the reset onto Yagos, but Perks comes in and makes it messier. And boy, oh boy, are we doing the switcheroo.
Fnatic is pretty positive overall. Bo now going advantage, like the stun! Oh! But in the meantime, Oscar just making sure Bo cannot come to play. It's the Oscar Reddit show on the top side. Cassante, baby, coming in clutch.
Go flash. I don't reach, okay? Fresquito on the prime.
Flashes forward. Bo starts attack. Mickey with the root though. Bo will fall 1-for-1.
He's looking for the flank. This could be the game-deciding play. It's the double TP, which one's real? Jackie, 3 in the midst of everything.
Nice,
guys.
Nice, good game. Yeah, GG. Nice, we're not pushed.
We're not washed.
Cease and desist, and he batters Ice down.
Desperately needs to keep the kill, deny the money. The shutdown comes through.
In the rivalry that everyone's been talking about when it's Spain versus France, Super roars with a pentagon.
Well, what a lovely look back to last week where Goldborg, I think it was kind of one of the craziest season starts we have ever seen.
That's certainly how I feel. It's never been crazier while I've been here. And, you know, it didn't really go how I expected either. From a fan perspective, the atmosphere has been absolutely insane. From a bet perspective with Finn and Broxer, we only got 2 right maximum if you followed back then. So even from the results-wise, the teams has just been showing off and been delivering in a way that we did not expect them to.
Exactly, both on and off the Rift. And so have you, but we cannot leave you by yourself. We have a couple of new talent members joining us this year. So do you want to introduce our next challenger?
Oh, absolutely. Good friend of mine. A new challenger approaches. Having tried his hand at support with the first ever Sona Taric in competitive league, he then switched to jungle after realizing he wasn't being flamed enough by his team in solo queue. He included beating Goldberg in golf as a brag, which I'm sure he'd sing from the rooftops if he wasn't worried we'd all run away from his voice. Sometimes you just need something sweet. It is trees!
Yeah, let's go!
Thank you, guys.
Popcorn?
Oh, lovely.
And they are sweet.
There you go.
They are sweet. Welcome.
Welcome!
Thank you.
What's going to be your X factor? What are you going to bring to the LEC?
I'm going to bring some hype analysis.
Okay.
Wow.
Some
Just
fun
hype
gameplay
analysis.
perspective.
Okay.
Some good bets with Guldborg, maybe.
Okay.
Good banter. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well,
Bring
I
it
know
on.
that you gave us your tier list as well for the teams, but let's start by taking a look at the standings after week 1 of the LEC. Specifically, I want to look at kind of the teams that ran away with it. SK Gaming 3-0, the only team to do that, Goldberg.
Yeah, I think that's a big outlier in terms of the expectations that we all had. We thought SK was going to be a middle of the pack, if not a bottom tier team. But what they have delivered already on is just not in the individual level, but the fact that new players are already gelling well together in with the team that was already there in place beforehand. So the team play has just really been stellar for them.
It has.
And then you have Isma coming in.
Yep.
Obviously, Niski is the jungle whisperer. Isma comes in blazing. He's really good early game, really good mid game, really good late game. He doesn't really have any weak point right now, and if he keeps it up, then I think they will keep going strong.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it later, but you already did. Because first we wanted to talk about your tier list to see how much it actually came true. I mean, you had G2 at the top, which I think is kind of standard for analysts and then preseason rankings, but SK only in the B tier, even though they turned out to be head and shoulders the best one.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had them as a dark horse as well. I think some of the teams obviously can mix it up. I think the only one I have kind of correct so far is Giant X, kind of towards the bottom there. But obviously everyone put G2 high up on the standings, makes sense. But week 1, they didn't quite deliver as hard as SK.
GB, I want to see yours as well and see how much you had correct.
Yeah, it'll probably be less, I'll be honest. My tier list did not really go to expectation. So in S tier, I got G2 because I thought they were going to be heads and shoulder above everyone else, having already kept the same members, pre-built synergy, all of that. And then in A tier, I was like, Max Verstappen.
Why?
It makes sense, all right?
No, it doesn't. Explain.
Okay, well, Max Verstappen in the year of 2023 was just 32nd, 42nd ahead of everyone else in Formula 1. I thought G2 was kind of going to be the same in our league. I was already proven wrong in the first week.
But he's an A tier, even though
it was not really meant to be. It was just to create space, okay? For the sake of the tier list, we can move all of them up if we want to. But yeah, then the second tier would then be Fnatic and Heretics. And yeah, I had SK down as D tier. I thought all the team in C was just going to compete for getting up to the bottom or the top 4. I will say, I had Vitality correct. That's at least one dot. 1 point. And that's the same as Streets. So we won one for that.
I mean, for SK, I feel like everyone who had something to do or knew about scrims knew that they were going to be high, at least in week 1. And everyone else, us, the plebs, because Exakick was on PGL and he was like, this makes me so angry. Why did people put us so low? I'm so glad. It really gave me energy. I'm like, because we don't know what goes on.
You're welcome, Exakick. We fueled your rage for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, he even wrote in solo queue to me yesterday, why did you rate me so low?
Really?
Yeah, he did. And I said I would rate you higher if we win. So, and we lost. So unfortunately, you're still down there, buddy.
Yeah, but it's SK. It was 3-0. You said it already. Is he going to be a Rookie of the Year?
I mean, I think he has the potential, right?
A
very solid start.
The mic if I eat the popcorn. Sorry.
That's lovely. No, but I think he for sure has the potential, and obviously week 1, if you only take week 1, he's definitely Rookie of the Split. Extremely solid start, and like I said earlier, his early game very clean, and he has the confidence kind of to make the mid game work as well. Sometimes rookie junglers have good starts to games, but then feel a bit lost, but I think he's kind of checked all the boxes there.
Yeah, and it's not just that he's bringing one style to SK, which is a rookie when you start out. Maybe you're really good at one thing and you have to pick up on a few other aspects of the game, but he already showed that he can be the facilitator on the rail, but he can also be the guy you skirmish through when he was playing the Sensao instead and was on a bit more damage dealing champion. So I think he's already shown really 2 positive sides of different aspects of gameplay.
And of course, we talked about it, how Niski often has a good influence on their junglers as well. So the duo is also functioning as you want it to.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Isma and Niski so far worked really well together. And I think they also have picked champs so far that work very well together. And I think they will keep doing that because that's Niski's strength, kind of working with his jungler, impacting the map. That's the Niski classic.
Yeah, definitely the jungler and the team to watch for this week, SK. But we want to build up the synergy here a little bit between our analysts and our newer members of the desk. So we've gotten an idea from SNL, we're just going to say it, to swap jokes between the 2 of my analysts. So basically, Goldberg prepared some material for Treats, and Treats has some material prepared for Goldberg to deliver to the camera, to the audience. And Treats, I believe I think we need to...
Yeah, I think I'll go this way.
Okay,
joke swap, position swap.
Go.
I'm not going to spoil myself
I'm just going to eat the popcorn. So where is he supposed to look? To his single camera?
I'm looking here.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Take it away, Treats.
Okay, I'll start us off then. Nya nya, hello everybody, it's me, Tweetsnya. I'm super duper excited to see KC play today. Hee wink. My favorite player is Kaboo Shard. He's just the cutest, nya nya. We all know KC stands for Cuddle Club. So those ready for some cuddles today? Haha, nya nya.
I think that's really cool that you already have a team you support that much, and I think coming a bit closer with your cuter side was a quite sight saw.
I think it's first time a lower third to show that this isn't really what you wrote yourself, just in case people get mad at you. But
well, I don't know what I'm reading yet. In order to do accurate analysis on a show day, I must first return to my Danish roots when attempting to concentrate. We at home must perform what we call the focus ritual, as we like to say in Danish, nogen hjælp mig. First I stand up.
It says demonstrate as you go.
Okay, first I stand up, then I raise both of my arms to a 90-degree angle, then I begin flapping like a bird, slowly at first, then progressively building up speed. Now all I do need is for someone to throw me a banana, which I will catch perfectly in my mouth.
It's popcorn? Oh!
And now I'm ready to analyze.
No way!
Oh, but Treats, what are your thoughts on Casey?
Everyone stop flaming KC. KC are fantastic. They just need to work on communication, map awareness, laning, vision control, CSing, poking, dying skill shots, objective control, early game, mid game, late game, ganking, and getting kills. Are you trying to get me cancelled? What do you think of KC, GB?
What have you written here? Well, I can't believe that the KC fans would rather rush the LEC back wall over their own team's gameplay.
Well, that's good, yeah. I guess
Is it getting a little bit spicy and dangerous? We still don't actually, since it's shown nowhere, this is just your opinion now.
Thank you for clarifying.
You have to stand for that, GB, now.
Treats.
All right, enough of this nonsense. This is a professional broadcast here to present you guys the highest quality League of Legends analysis that Europe has to offer. Let's finally get serious. Everyone's favorite G2 started off their return from Worlds with a 2-1 weekend with a surprise loss to Rogue on Monday. It would have been great, however, if someone reminded them that they're no longer at Worlds and they are allowed to win more than 2 games in a row.
It's actually true.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
it's
a bit
stand for that one.
Yeah, you stand for that one. GB, you have one more.
I do. Okay, I'll bring us back to some real analysis. Which one is more likely to happen? KC ending over Matt Coy in the standings, or Vitality winning a single game? What do you think?
You can answer it. I think we're walking over, but...
Wow.
What do you think?
I mean, I hope that Vitality win a game. I mean, I think that they have everything it takes, right? But kind of rocky start for them, I would say.
I don't think it was too egregious. None of you were actually too embarrassed with what you had to read.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we could have done a lot worse.
My first one was a bit tricky to read. I had to kind of live up to the character.
No, I think you didn't try.
He should have tried way more.
But you did not.
It was too surprising. It just came at me. I had to prepare mentally for that one, yeah.
Yeah, sad. But a good start to everything. And if anyone wants popcorn, I, of course, still have it. But as we get into the content of the day, I did want to talk about one lane in specific, being the top laners. I think there were a lot of standout top laners in week 1, but in the same vein, rather, there were also some that I think we were left wanting. So I asked you to rank some of the top laners according to happy bees or sad bees. I don't know why it's bees. I think it has to do with the emote and not necessarily with the vitality.
It is exactly the emotes.
Okay, cool. Goldberg, you want to kick us off?
Yo, absolutely. So we had 3 obviously in the top side here in the beginning, and we start with Irrelevant. I think for a long time, people like to say he is an underrated top laner, but I think that the conversation just needs to land on this guy is a great top laner. He is one of the best in Europe right now, and his week 1 performance displayed it almost to perfection as well.
What made him so good in week 1, you think?
I think that it's exactly knowing what to do with his lane when a team needs it as well. I think in an individual setting, his understanding of matchup is just phenomenal. He will pretty much win every single matchup he plays against and his teammates, but it's also knowing that my jungler is on bot side, I will make sure that the wave has been crashed beforehand. I have a slow push in, and now when the tempo switch to a top side play where we go for grubs, invade on blue buff, whatever it could be on top side, he then manages to have a lane stain where it's perfect, so he has first move on the top lane. I think Irrelevant has just been phenomenal, a driver for his team without really getting too many resources as well.
And this was something that we started seeing already last year as well, right, Treats?
Yeah, I would like to say that I think last year as well, his laning was like stellar. It was almost perfect, I would say. I think he knows a lot of his matchups extremely well. But I think now what he's added on is kind of this team fight and mid-game element where he just seems to find kills or setups for his team where they don't really seem to exist. As you can see in this team fight, lands the stun, which then sets up Niski to get a huge sneak ult, and I think that's the difference from Irrelevant last year to this year. It's both the laning, but also the mid and late game.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people say that was a Jax clip, but he's also done it in Gwen in his first game that they had, where he bought so much space for his team doing the Baron. He literally just 1v4'd them and went forward to buy, well, as much as he could of time for the team. But you can see it on the stats as well. He's first in pretty much everything, and while the stats doesn't paint the entire picture of a pro player, we've just shown you the gameplay.
Yeah.
You've seen him play for yourself as well. The guy is just that good right now.
He is. He's been phenomenal. It's going to be really interesting to see what he can do with SK because he's willing to take initiative as well. And I think maybe that goes for all of the top laners in the good category. Next up, I think, was Fnatic's Oscar Rinnen. And I think this is an interesting topic to follow overall, Treats, because last year I feel like we never got to see his true power because of kind of everything that happened. He came in late. He had his injury, of course, but now he's starting fresh.
Yeah, I think we saw glimpses last year, but this time he's coming in hot, and I think especially on his Cassante, I just love when top laners play with so much emphasis on what they have to do in the team fight. I think sometimes top laners kind of run around and do a bit of everything, but it's very clear to Oscar his objective in team fights and what he wants to accomplish, and that's what I think makes him such a great player.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a great example of it as well, just taking Bo out for Razak to steal the Baron at the same time. And I think this was a game that was kind of close until these team fights started happening, until Oscar started showing why he is as good and highly praised as he is on a champion like Cassante.
Do you think that the meta right now is in a position where we might get there eventually with all the changes? Maybe we'll cascade back into only tanks in the top lane. But in general, do we feel like right now is also kind of a golden age and that there is more possible and that you can approach the top lane in different ways?
I think you certainly can. You take a look at like what pro players see as a tier list for top lane right now. To the people I speak, it's Rumble and Jax, obviously S tier. But then people are still happy to throw in a tank whenever they need it. We've started seeing some Udyr top in the LEC. We've started seeing a normal Cassante, which still happens. But it's the fact that there's still a lot of champions. You never feel pinned down in champion select as a top laner, at least not until you've gone all the way to the second phase.
Yeah, and especially now with the new patch, I think no one really knows, right? So you can kind of pick up whatever you think is good, and if you make it work, you make it work. And I think that's very true for Oscar Rinnen as well.
We also had Mirvan in the top lane for Mad Lions Koi, who got a lot of praise in week 1 and who we know Treats. He sometimes does want to play something different, but also just a stellar performance. But what set him apart from the others on this list?
I mean, he also, like the other top laners on the Glatch list, kind of plays with a lot of emphasis on both lane and team fights. And what I mean with that is he plays to win. He doesn't play to just kind of be just a Nard that farms in top lane. He wants to be the Akali that punishes you in lane, and obviously against Kabashard he did that super well. He got a lane lead, and even in team fights he kind of one-shot upset like he did here and had a lot of pressure. So that's what I like to see from the top laners in the league, when they play with this emphasis to win and not just kind of exist.
Yeah, when there's Gladge, there must be, is it Sag or is it, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, it can be Sag, it can be disappointed, it can be at the bottom of it all.
And I see Cabo there, he was in the replay we just showed as well. And I heard a lot when you talked about those former top laners about willing to approach both the laning phase and the team fights and the initiative and the macro movements. Is this list then the people who don't do that, or how do I have to see this?
So I think it's not necessarily that they don't want to do it. And the Jax clip you just saw where he got solo killed by the Akali, it's just a mechanical lane mistake that he's making. He's literally walking up, Eing when the cloud is up for Akali as well, and he just has to jump out immediately as soon as he knows he's made a mistake. It's the fact that maybe in that situation, he wants to be forward in the lane, he wants to be the one dictating it, but he can't do it in this matchup. So that's a big mistake of that game, and it pretty much solo lost him that game because Akali didn't have too much lockdown CC on enemy team. She got fed, and suddenly there was a big problem for Karma Corp having to deal with that Akali.
Yeah, and then also, like you said, it comes from the lane, but also sometimes in mid game, I feel like when there is windows, there's different types of top laners. Some people want to look for the initiative, some people want to be told what to do in mid game. Like for example, I want you to TP here, I have a ward here, perfect for you. But I think what separates the Gladge from the Sag kind of thing is that the Gladge top laners, they kind of look for it themselves and kind of put the initiative on them. And that's what I would like to see from the Sag top laners this week. Kind of look for it themselves, and even though lane maybe doesn't go perfect, look for the opportunity.
Yeah, there's sometimes I guess people at home will also say, yeah, but their team decides to play a certain way as well. True, right? But still, you ideally don't want to get solo killed, or you ideally don't want to give up all the advantages.
Yeah, I mean, is a great top laner supposed to only know one way of playing the game as well? That's also a different question.
Wow, you sent for Odo and Shigenda.
I mean, they can do both, but obviously their strengths. Well, I think for Shigenda specifically, he hasn't really felt like he's there for what he was brought in to do. I think when you think of Shigenda, the best games he had as well, it was on champions like Jace, is where isolated as well, he can find leads, facilitated, he can find leads, but being on the Aatrox, as we've seen, even if he had a small lead or even if he had charge of the laning phase, he manages to find a way to throw it away a little bit. I remember the game against SK where random kill against a Veloven came through. When Bard Portal came in there, he was overstepped in lane. I remember some of the team fights where he didn't participate enough. His position wasn't good for the flank coming into the team fight. So it's really just, once again, going back to the entire thing we've discussed, laning phase perspective and how you position yourself in a team fight to buy space for your team or facilitate your team.
Okay, and Odo?
Yeah, I mean, Odo was kind of in the same bucket, I would say. I think he didn't have super terrible performances, but it was more like he didn't really find the impact in the games. And that also comes slightly from lane, just kind of not having a big advantage and not being sure what to do, but also then from mid game, just trying to find angles that exist. Because I think he's also someone who's theoretically thought of as a top laner that soaks pressure, but I think top lane right now is in a very good spot to carry a lot of games as well.
Yeah, cool. We have an eye on you, top laners. My analysts are watching you closely. Well, Murren had a fantastic week 1, so let's hear what he had to say about his entry into the league.
Mirwin? No, not of the game was Alex Villarejo Pastor. I'm 20 years old. I love League of Legends. I've been playing it for such a long time, like Season 2. Until Season 9 or 10, I didn't play competitive at all, or even Scrim or anything. And at some point, my brain just decided to go pro. So I started in an amateur team in 3rd Division Spain, named OKG. Then I moved on to some different teams in Spain, like the same division. And I ended up in what was 2nd Division at that point, which was Stonebringers, with Orien, and the next year it was Astralis. And that same year, it's when I joined LVP with Bisons, and I've been 2 years there.
And then you played...
Iberian Cup with Heretics, and I'm here.
And who are your favorite champions?
I would say Gwen Ansari. People don't know maybe, but I love like scaling champs like Vladimir, Kale, like these two. I also like Nico a lot.
Is there any player or team in the LEC that you're especially excited to play against?
I would say a Fnatic because of Oscar, but there's many. I want to play into Heretics, I want to play into KC, G2 because I consider them to be the best.
Well, he's in luck because they are playing G2 later today. Mirren, he said it himself, so now we know exactly how to say it. And there were, of course, rumors of him even last week going for the LeBlanc, but it didn't end up happening. And maybe it's too late now because we're on 14.1B, meaning there are a couple of changes, including that LeBlanc where the AD ratios are down. Does mean that the AP ratios are up.
That's the big thing though, because they did buffer AP with 5%, I believe, on the E and the W, but it's really just Riot at this point screaming, for the love of God, stop building AP and please play her as a mage instead. I've tried her a bit and she does do a lot of damage that people might not be surprised to for some of the bursts coming into it, so we could still see it, just not maybe with the AD version, but the AP instead.
Yeah, I would love to see Wei. I think this champion is extremely good, especially in bot lane. I think it's very underrated and very underplayed in general, but as we all know, AD carries take a bit of time to adapt to the meta, but I would love to see some Wei.
Treat sense for ADCs.
I just think AD carries are kind of, they're used to their comfort picks and they don't want to kind of stray away from it, as we remember from the mage meta, but I do think Wei is very, very potent right now.
And one of the interesting ones, it was actually Finn that was speaking to me about this, is that Riot wanted to compensate for jungle sack being down a bit with Radiant Virtue no longer being an item, but a lot of the changes that came for his cooldowns is very beneficial for his top lane, where you now suddenly can start playing this in the top lane with Radiant Hollow instead. You just one-shot the minions, you do a ton of damage. So sleeper pick could be a sack top. We did see Odo play it last year, so maybe there's more incentive to go for it now.
It's possible indeed. Also, we heard rumors, well, we saw Udyr also around the world hoping to finally being able to keep down K'Sante.
I mean, Udyr is a very solid pick into K'Sante. I think in general it just has more push, more fighting, and just kind of absorbs pressure very well. So into K'Sante, who wants to kind of fist fight you, you almost can't because of your shield and your lifesteal. As we can see here, proxy on level 3, that's kind of unheard of in the meta, but Zeus can just kind of walk past him and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and you start Demolish, you take proc of the Demolish, you just go back into the minion wave. Your economy of a build is so cheap just because you play Frozen Heart, which is super valuable right now, even into only 180 carry comps, and you just get so much mana of the statue value, you get some of the extra hate, the armor of course, and you just take over this proxy strategy. It allows you to move first for your jungler, it allows you to move first on a mid lane play, it allows you to not use TP and just straight up walk down to a dragon fight. It just brings so many avenues from the pressure the pick brings.
It's so cool when it's behind us. New studio. Yay. Anyways, something else that we saw, I think was Gumushu, but also just in general, very strong is the double support item. So you're gonna run us through what you should be doing.
Yes, and I think the double support item is something we're almost guaranteed to see today. I think it's such a strong strategy that it will almost be kind of a loss for the LEC if we don't play it. I'm sure the teams have kind of tinkered with it in the scrims and so on, and I think I want to start off saying why double support item is good. So basically, you get a lot more gold, right? The AD carry goes to support item on first base, and obviously the support starts with the support item. And then when you upgrade it, you can get Bloodsong, which is basically like Sheen and PTA in one. And obviously it's after 1,000 gold. So then you might ask, what's the strategy? How do you get to 1,000 gold? Well, it starts with the AD carry taking the range creeps with the stacks that you get from the support item. And why do you want to do that, GB?
Well, it's really interesting because normally the range creep in the beginning would only give you 14 gold as the AD carry if you farmed it. But if you have the support item now, you automatically get 20 instead. You also don't take away from your tax when you farm the minions, which of course is why you would have the other support, clear the melee minions or the cannon whenever they come around. Maybe sometimes as well the quest becomes too finicky, so you have to share the XP or the minions just a little bit as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have the farming penalty as the AD carry. That's why you want to take the range creeps and let your support take the cannons. And sometimes if you have to push away, for example, or like you said, if you have to trade, you can sometimes get it, but it's not the end of the world. And once you upgrade Bloodsong, you just have more gold than the enemy, right? You will have 1,000 gold, and also your support has way more gold, so it's just kind of a win-win, and there's not really any downside to it.
Yeah, we are seeing a top lane replay right now, but of course down the bot side we did see Gumayushi and Kyria play it as well when they're playing up against Genji. And what was so curious about that they just farmed the gold so quickly that even though they're down in CS, they get ahead of the enemy laner. But it does have some downside as well, because as far as I'm concerned, you're not really allowed to roam anymore. You have to sit back in lane, you have to farm. How does that work out on the map then?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to stay in lane because you want the support quest to proc on the range creep as AD carry. And if your support roams, you can't really upgrade this quest. So I think the major benefit is also that you play this strat with champions that want to stay in lane, right? Like, for example, T1 played the Lucian Milio. You can play stuff like the Senna Seraphine, etc. Basically, you want champs that scale well with the support item and that also scales well with the gold. So as you can see in this game, they were down 15 CS, right? 180 golden plates, and they were both still up in gold. How does that work? Well, it works because double support items very strong.
Yeah, but as a disclaimer as well, it is looking to get nerfed. So if you're looking to do this, you gotta do it now.
2 weeks.
You gotta abuse it while you can, and you can do it on different champions. Like we've seen the Lucian Milio come out from T1. We've also seen some in solo queue at least, Senna and Seraphine as well.
I think Neela is also very good with it.
Neela, one of them as well. T1 did play that as well, but didn't actually play it with the Bloodsong in the second game, even though a lot of people expected it. Is there any other sleeper picks we could see with it?
I think those that we mentioned are probably the biggest ones. I think Senna is the main actor for this entire thing because she sets up the second carry to get it very well as well. So I would love to see that and kind of make it work, because I think if people do it, it will catch on and almost every team will do it. And I think it will kind of become the meta for the remaining 2 weeks of this patch in LEC.
All right, so there you have it. A little bit on the 2x support items you might have seen, might not have seen. Go check it out. We might see it ourselves here, but the next thing we will see now is Law sitting down with Markoon before their match ahead of today's games.
Markoon, thank you so much for joining me ahead of today's game. I want to talk about last week and what happened, the results, because I feel like it's not easy getting back to work, getting back to school, especially when you have a new team, new environment, new stage as well. How did you reflect on what happened and the difficulties that you faced getting back to it?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I definitely needed like a warm-up game or two.
Yeah.
I don't think I played that well, especially the first 2 games. I don't think I really found my rhythm. But I mean, starting like G2 game, I was starting to feel more like normal, like the season had been on for a while, and I think next week is going to be better as well, or this week then.
Yeah, I feel like the one versus G2 was a good one to pick up actually, but I want to talk about the team and everything because you have a very distinct style, each member of Rogue. How do you think the team is supposed to work together? What should be your style?
I mean, inside the game, I don't think we're really going to choose a side. I mean, of course, we have Larsen, right, who really likes to play controlled, so we're obviously going to play a bit more controlled around mid. But I don't think we've really picked out a specific like style or way to play yet. I think we have pretty flexible players, so we can still go either way. Like, we don't have to play only bot or only mid, so...
Something that defined Rogue games last week, and I'm sorry for mentioning it, was the slow pace of the game and lack of action, if I may say. Is it something that you want to work on, or do you feel like keeping this controlled pace and style with the game is what you guys should do?
I mean, we realized it after the second game as well, and we had like a lot of talks about it already before the G2 game that I don't think it's like controlled gameplay. We were just really bad, and we were not synergized in the early game at all together. So I was doing like kind of my own thing, and I was thinking what my teammates were going to do was like the same as what I was going to do, and my bot lane was thinking the same. But we're actually not on the same page at all, so then what happens is no one does anything.
Hopefully.
And yeah, that's what you saw in the game. It wasn't really controlled gameplay, it was really bad gameplay in my mind.
I think all the teams were struggling a bit last week, and Vitality is one of them. You're facing off against them today. How hard is it to prep against an opponent when they didn't show much last week, and you actually don't know what they're supposed to be about?
It's not that hard. I mean, I don't think the prep for Vitality was that hard. Like, I don't think they played that unusual. They just made a lot of mistakes, right, just as us. So It's not that we have to prep for anything
Alright.
special. It's just have to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that
Yeah.
we did last week, and we'll probably win then.
And adding up the new patch on top of this, few words on Douglas, newcomer in the jungle. You were in his position a few years
I
ago.
actually think, from watching in gameplay, I think he seems pretty smart. I think like he completely outsmarted both like 2 games. I think from like level 1 to 3, he like outsmarted and outpathed. But I think he's making like some mistakes in mid game. But I mean, as expected as a rookie, right? But I think for playing against him, I think he will do well once he has some experience.
All right, Markern, thank you so much for the interview. Good luck today.
Thank you,
of course.
thank you.
And casters, back to you for game 1.